Yes, we're a little late, but blame that on the GDC channel. They ran overtime and they're doing a debate on Marvel versus DC Comics or something along those lines. And I figured, oh, they're going to be wrapping it up any minute. Well, any minute turned into another minute, turned into another minute. Hey, everyone, you guys can hear me. Hopefully this is working. I'm using Streamlabs OBS this time, so hopefully this will work properly. I've tested it out before, and it worked okay. I got Cheshire with us. Hi, Cheshire. I've got Reds Rhetoric with us.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
He really doesn't even know why he's here. We hadn't even really told him that much, so he's not even BSing. And we got Deconverted Man.
Deconverted
What's up, Deconverted Man? How are you, buddy?
It's great. It's good to be here.
This
is all my fault.
This is your fault. I was going to say the reason we're here is kind of your fault.
It is all my fault. I accept full blame for this one.
So you want to give the backstory of what we're actually doing, or why we're doing this, and how you got involved with this guy and what's going on here? You can lead us in. I found
the individual here. His name is Jeremy Spry on a different channel. While I was looking on YouTube as you do for God or proof of God or anything I can make a video about. And this guy popped up, and I was like, okay, well, let's see if I can get a thing going with him. And he's like, oh, I don't want to talk on this channel with people that don't agree with me. So I was like, all right, well, you did say you wanted to talk to me at some point, so let's make that happen. And weeks go by, whatever, and finally he's like, okay, I made a new channel just for atheists. Here it is. Here's the first video.
He had one sub, by the way. He has.
That's me.
Okay. So his first sub, and by the way, you know how we do this. I put the link in the video description, so he will get subs out of this. I get that. I understand.
I was like, look,
I haven't subbed to him, but whatever.
Downvote this video.
No, don't downvote it. Please encourage this man.
Oh no, downvoting probably would encourage him. I mean, he's a young
whatever.
creationist.
I mean, either way, but I did as I do, where I did a short response, only 40 minutes long. So I don't know what we're gonna do here.
The video's only 6.
Yeah, well,
Isn't that weird when you do the video that's response that's 10 times longer than the actual one? Yeah.
Look, I mean, what's that phrase that it takes a dictionary to explain a sentence of wrongness or something? I don't know how that goes.
So
but anyways, we're going to have a lot of fallacies and a lot of science that science will die, and it will hurt, and you'll hurt, and no one will win. It's going to be great.
It's enough pain to go
my
around.
kind of night.
Yeah, I mean, I watched this on 1.5 speed, and even I was like, oh God.
Yeah,
so
but you can. But as a bonus,
I can't take
it regular. You could chroma green screen out the background probably, so you could do something with that, I guess.
Yeah, we might actually, because he has kind of a greenish screen, so people might be able to.
Yeah, it's like a green wall behind him. But yeah, him and I are supposed to talk this coming Monday. No idea if we will or not, but it will be interesting. And well, we'll see what happens. I don't know, but anyway, so this is going to be a thing that he's going to help us atheists by telling. Well, I'm not going to spoil it. Yeah.
Okay, so this guy was. I guess he had a discussion with Godless Engineer. I didn't watch that because I don't watch Godless Engineer. I don't know why anybody watches Godless Engineer.
I don't know who that is anymore.
Yeah, who the hell knows? I just know he's some guy that's bleeding subs. New YouTube, who this? So. I found out this guy is a young Earth creationist because I heard that to the end. So this kind of already tells me his mindset. But he has some wonderful, foolproof argument that has been actually just a regurgitated argument on how to help atheists overcome their atheism and become, I guess, productive members of society as theists, worshiping his young Earth creationist deity. I guess that's in a nutshell.
So it's more productive to spend 1 day a week worshiping at minimum and focusing on those things rather than, working on Sundays?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't explicitly say this. I'm thinking this is, his
well, there's kind of a metagame going on. It's not so much that he's helping atheists, he's helping other people to understand how to help atheists.
Oh,
you gotta get into
party.
his mindset, It's like third degree chess here or something. I don't know.
All right, so what I'm going to do is we're in Skype, so I can actually play the video here. If you guys want to say something, just say stop. But when he gets to the questions, which are a little bit towards the middle, but it's only a 6-minute thing, we're going to ask you guys the questions, especially Reds, because we want, we're looking out for Reds' soul and eternal salvation. So we want to make sure that this argument really works by converting the heathen atheist Reds Rhetoric into.
Oh, I
a
know
theist.
what this is now.
You
God
don't
damn
know
it.
anything.
Fuck.
By the way, just to throw you under the bus here, Reds, because I do that kind of
Fucking
stuff. Clearly,
hate you.
I'm a throwing under the bus person, as people know. Chess was like not going to tell you anything what this is about. She's just like, just going blind, just make him going hard blind, and I'm like, okay.
Listen, that's exactly what's going to happen. Reds is going to go in hard and blind.
Yeah,
Look, you can't answer any of this guy's questions.
yeah, this is going to be fun. All right, now I got to remember how
Damn
to
it.
the screen share. I always forget on this. I figured it out one day. Isn't it little three things at the bottom?
Bottom right corner,
Yeah.
there's two screens. Like there's two little squares
Yeah.
beside the little beating heart.
Yeah. See, I always think that's picture in picture.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
But
okay.
that's the share screen.
All right, so I should be sharing now, and you should be able to hear it. Awesome. All right, let's do this.
So in this video, I want to talk about how to just help atheists and how to point out how illogical their worldview is, because it's very simple. You only need to know a few things. And even though I've studied a lot, especially from James Torr and Stephen Meyer, those are my two favorite Christian apologists, I guess you'd say, or proponents of intelligent design. And I've also spent so much time listening to atheists. It really boils down to what I'm going to teach you. That is the foundation.
Okay, stop.
of
He's studied a lot, guys. He's studied a lot of
Really be
creationists
yeah.
and apologetics.
James
That he
Torr.
totally knows about anything else.
The first name that he mentioned is they're both scientists, but the first one actually has a whole blog about how he is not a proponent of ID. He got involved in that. Like, they sent him an email. He agreed to the email. Didn't know what it was. He has this whole thing about distancing himself from intelligent design. So he doesn't count. The other guy's a full-fledged creationist, so he counts.
Yeah, so a couple of different things. James Torr has actually distanced himself a lot of this because he made the statement one time that he didn't understand macroevolution. He's a biochemist.
Right,
and
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and he's not a biologist. He's a biologist, a biochemist, but he's not he's not an evolutionary biologist. And so he didn't understand macroevolution very well. He offered people to come explain to him, but then when this became a thing, well, James Torr says there's no such thing as macroevolution. He kind of distanced himself from that. He's like, he even said, I don't know enough about the topic to even weigh in on the topic, okay? Because that's not his area of study. And people that do have areas of study usually say, this is not my area, and so they don't really put forth their expertise on those types of areas if they don't have them, right? But I noticed one thing he said other than I studied this, because that means he just basically read their books. He didn't read the science. But I like the way he said, I'm going to teach, as if he is in a position to know something to actually teach somebody. This is very Hovinistic to me, right? Did you guys catch that? I thought that's what stood out to me. So
Maybe that's who he's been listening to.
yeah. Oh, and also the atheism as a worldview, which I'm not into worldviews. I don't think that they really make sense to me. I think a worldview is an overall encompassing theory of the world that you have, but I don't really put labels on them or distinguish them, but people can. But I don't think atheism is a worldview per se. But okay.
Real quick, I think you're sharing the wrong screen, because as of right now, the external can't see this, but there are actually on my screen 4 me's. So I see me in the top right where I can normally see yourself, right? Then there's the little box of me. Then there's the little Streamlabs that we can see, because I think you've got the wrong window selected. So there's me in the corner there, and then I'm also big in the background.
I think you're right. Okay, I can fix that, I think. You're right. You're right. This is what I keep you around for. Is that better?
There you go.
All right, no, I screen my other screen with my Streamlabs and my chat and all that stuff. So, okay. So that better?
Yeah, you're good.
Awesome. See, this is why I have in real time feedback. So I need a producer. Boo. All right, let's go. Oh, ready? Go ahead, DM.
No. It's going to be something stupid. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. Well, I've seen your stuff. So that's what I expect. Go. Did you have anything? No, okay.
atheism. And if I've got this video game on my phone where the goal is to to shoot these cannonballs at a castle and bring the castle down. And I never shoot high. I always shoot at the foundation, and that
Such
makes
a
everything above it
fucking
crumble.
old analogy.
So if you can learn these few things, these few questions to ask atheists, then you can try to help them be delivered from atheism, from the
Help them by
illogical and
shooting cannonballs at their
unscientific
feet.
view that is known as
I love this.
atheism.
Be delivered. You have to be delivered. Okay, so Reds, we're delivering you like a midwife's. He's like a theistic midwife.
I'm
delivering
shooting
you.
cannons at your
Fucking
castle,
hate
Red.
You all.
Your castle.
I told her you were not going to be thrilled with this. She didn't listen to me. What do I know? I've only known you longer, but no. She's like, oh, let's do this. Okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah, I'm using catapult pancakes on your castle, Red.
Hey,
It's
do you
coming
think the
down.
game he's been playing is fucking Angry Bird?
Could be.
Mm.
He's got better glasses
doesn't
than I do,
sound
at
like
least, though. He has 2 lenses. All right, Kawasa 5000W. Yes, Lab Rats Rhetoric. Expose him to the formula. See if he has any adverse effects that we're going to do. Yes. And also, Sandring, $10. Thank you, Sandring. Welcome, buddy. He says, your name is a golden bell hugging my heart. I would break my body to pieces to call you once by your name.
Somebody in chat said deliver me Reds like a pizza.
Ooh. Hey, deliver Reds right to your door. You got a flat earther coming over? Reds is there, man. That's great. That's a good little business
1-900
service.
Reds Rhetoric.
All right, moving on. Hey, Reds, you should think about that. Door-to-door anti-flat earth, discussions. There you go.
So it's like
God.
door-to-door
it.
Mormonism, but it's...
Yeah.
Or
Have you heard the good news? You get this
Yeah,
round.
You've heard of the door-to-door atheists. They knock and go, nothing's going to happen. Thanks. Bye.
I would love that. I would love
Everything
that.
you guys are saying tonight is a bad idea. I just want to make you all painfully aware of this.
We are so aware of this.
I've never had a bad idea once in my life. I don't know
I
what
don't know
you're
what
talking
you're
about.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah.
She doesn't have your best
Take
interest at
that
heart.
if
Nope.
the castle's been destroyed.
belief in God, because the proof of God is obvious. And what we'll find out...
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
So obvious, I'm going to make this video.
I gotta tell you a funny story, DM. You're gonna like this. I had a quote that is out there from the Pope of Agnosticism, and it goes something along the lines of, "God is self-evident, then why does he need people to demonstrate or point out that he exists or try to argue that he exists?" Something along those lines, right? And he's just like he's arguing that it's self-evident. And then the funniest thing was I had Sidane Brugenkate comment on a thread on my Facebook page saying something to the effect, "You're right, Steve. That's why people need to be presuppositionalists." I'm like,
Oh,
you know what? He's got a point here in a way. Satan actually has a point because it doesn't make sense to argue something that's self-evident. But if it's not, if for him it doesn't have to be self-evident. He takes it presuppositionally. So Satan's a lot more quicker than people give him credit for.
It's also a lot easier to sell something if you believe in it. Really quick though, also Flat Earth Aussie Jesus said, "Red says, have you seen my rockets? Proof we live on a spinning space rock." Listen, I keep trying to get Reds to send me his rocket, but he's not sending it. He's not biting.
I'm
trying my
getting
best.
there, okay?
Stephen Hoyt for $1.
Damn
Thank
it.
you, Stephen Hoyt.
Fucking impatient as...
Why does he Why does he want your rocket? That's not a euphemism for something, is it?
No.
You know what,
Okay.
Steve?
I mean, it could be.
Steve, at this point, that we should just let the idea go and move on.
Yeah, we're not helping your case here. Okay.
Out is that they just don't want to believe. That's really what it boils down to. So the first thing that I talk about is DNA.
They don't want to
So the
believe.
question
I don't
you
wanna.
could ask them is, do you believe, do you think, and do you agree that DNA is information/code?
Okay. First of all, those are multiple questions. It's not the first question. It's like we get like 3. But Chess, why don't you be the inquisitor here
Okay.
and ask
What was the
Reds?
question? Yeah, play it again.
Let's play it again so you know which ones they are.
Yeah.
That DNA is
Hang on.
information. Do you think and do you agree that DNA is information/code?
There you go. Do you think and do you agree that DNA is information/code?
See, he's speechless. This leaves the atheist speechless.
He doesn't want to play with it.
He knows he's
doesn't wanna
screwed.
believe.
Yeah.
He
He doesn't
doesn't
want to
wanna
believe.
Oh, so all of you can suck a fuck. I was muted. Fuck you. Okay, it depends on how they define information.
Should I do that?
You're the inquisitor. Yeah, you could, yeah, actually, because he actually says in here, use, and by the way, these are just, again,
information.
descriptors, but...
Facts provided or learned about something or someone, and what is conveyed or represented by a particular arrangement or sequence of things.
I guess DNA is information. Then I don't know. I don't fucking know this shit.
I agree with that, actually. Now, this was actually the reason I don't like the way he worded this, because he's asking multiple questions into one question, right? Because he's like, do you think it's a code? Do you think it's information? It is. DNA is biological information. There's no question about that. I mean, there's information stored in that system. So I don't think anybody would be arguing against DNA is not information unless you just don't know crap about DNA and biology, I guess. But is it a code? I think is what he's trying to get people at. You know, is he trying to say if it? You know, listen to the way he words it again, because I don't want to straw man him.
Believe
it's very
you
specific.
Think, and do you agree that DNA is information / code?
See, information / code. That's not the same thing.
Yeah, those are very different things.
Right.
Here's the definition for code, by the way, because I had that already pulled up. A system of words, letters, figures, or other symbols substituted for other words, letters, etc., especially for the purpose of secrecy. Or computing or programming instructions.
Now, when I had my debate with Stated Clearly on, is DNA a code, I explained the differences here between cryptography and Shannon theory, and the different ways the word code is used. It's used differently in different subjects. So, for example, a biological code is not going to be the same thing as Shannon information if you do encryption for something along the lines of cryptography. So, in this case, he's equivocating the two. He's actually just kind of putting them together and saying information is synonymous with code. That's not the same thing.
Now, if they're honest...
Oh, DM, did you want to add on that? DM? Where'd DM go? See, this is what happens. The atheist
the question was too much.
He couldn't handle it. He didn't want to believe. He ran away, guys.
If he was honest.
One down.
Going to say yes. Many times I did an interview with Godless Engineer the other night, and he kept trying to tell me that DNA is not information.
Now, I
he just called GE dishonest?
I didn't watch this, so I don't know if that was GE was actually arguing that or not. If he was arguing DNA isn't information, then I think he's just absolutely wrong.
Well,
but I can't say that he was because I didn't listen to the discussion.
He just said if they're honest, they'll say that it is information, and then proceeded to say that GE didn't accept his definitions, essentially. So he just called GE dishonest.
Yes. Yes, that's very good logic. Hey.
Gee, this guy's calling you out.
Hey, this guy's name is actually Atheism versus Logic. So that's his channel name, Atheism versus Logic. So there you go. You logicked him. There you go. Yeah. So I don't know if GE actually believes that or not, but I don't care enough because I don't talk to GE.
It's just these chemicals, and that's like saying a letter is not information. A letter is just ink and paper, and we know, who cares about the medium or the medium? It's information. You
want to add on that?
Nah.
Okay. Information is contained in things, right? These signifiers, like words or signifiers, they contain information because it contains something that's being interpreted by a person that looks at it. Okay, so letters and all that stuff contains.
As long as it's recognizable, yeah.
Right. I mean,
is this bullshit where this guy's gonna just basically make a long-winded argument of? If there's code, there has to be like a code writer or some shit like this.
Oh, you're
like,
so smart. Why would they do that, Reds? That would be silly. Stop.
Yeah,
come on, Reds.
And so I worded it differently.
By the way, no spoilers.
I was like, well, do you believe the information for that organism is in that DNA? And he would say yes. So,
all right, Red, go ahead. Ask them. Is that information in an organism? Reds? Oh, you're the
Inquisitor. Yes. There's information in organism, but technically there's information in everything. I mean, for fuck's sake, he's not being very clear here. So I think what he's trying to say is that is there information from like an intelligent source? And to that I say, we don't fucking know.
DM, do you want to add on that?
Information requires an informationer.
An informationer? That's a technical term for it.
Don't start that. Someone will run with that, please.
So pretty much,
funny,
I mean, you could just, you can easily get them to say that DNA is information. I even later in the interview I said, would you agree that DNA is a recipe for the organism? And he agreed with that. So you could word.
Okay, that would be an analogy. That's
Who
a simple.
is agreeing with this?
I don't know. DM, you look more into this. What is he talking about?
I mean, this non-linked talk that he had with Godless Engineer that we can't confirm. Sure, he did all these things. Why not? I mean,
yeah, Well, like I said, I didn't bother to really.
Yeah, I
look
mean,
into that.
he doesn't link it or anything. So how we have no idea if that's what was said. We don't know.
Okay.
For all we know, he could be making it all up. I mean, there's no way. I don't know.
By the way, I'm calibrating this thing. I want to see if this actually works here. How many people are watching? Because my YouTube counter here.
I'm seeing 150.
149.
See, I thought that was wrong because mine says 32, and I knew that couldn't be right. So I just want to see the accuracy level of this widget. I don't think it's very correct. Okay.
I had to reset Skype so you could hear me. I don't know why.
Okay.
To try to get them to admit that DNA is information. It's code. It's a recipe.
Okay. Again, admitting that it's information is not admitting that it's a code.
Admit it. Admit it, Reds. Admit it. Do it. Admit it. Right now. Admit.
Do you agree, Reds, that that's not the same thing?
It's the recipe.
You must admit it.
I mean, right now what he's talking, it sounds like a recipe for bullshit, but I've already expected as much, so
but
not really
real
surprised
quick,
at this point.
He's researched
You
this,
admit it.
Reds. He's read about this,
He admitted
Reds.
it. You heard him. He admitted it.
Real quick before we go too far, there's a big difference between the kind of code that he's inferring and a genetic code, which are just the set of rules used by living cells to translate information.
Rules create a rule giver. Or require a real rule giver.
We're the ones who recognize the pattern, so we made those rules.
Binary code like
That's descriptive, not prescriptive. You fail.
a computer, but it is a type of code, and then look up the definition for code.
Which you did.
Yep.
Okay. So
You didn't look up the right one.
we're following we're following exactly what he's asking people to do, right? I want to make sure.
He gave us a recipe to help atheists. We're following his recipe.
Okay.
Reds, is it working? Is it? Convincing you?
Are you feeling God inside you yet?
I feel constipated. Does that count?
Yeah.
If you feel movement inside you, it could be. It could be.
No, if it's constipated,
Right now-
it's lack of movement.
True.
Right now, it feels like it's about to come out sideways.
Adam Morgan,
That'll be something.
$2. So if I find a watch on a beach, the watchmaker fallacy kind of thing.
Oh, don't worry. He doesn't do that here at all.
Because he's researched, he's well read.
He's researched two scientists, one of which doesn't agree with him.
You'll find out that you have to look up definitions a lot, and
Again,
Damn it!
these
Have
are
to
just
look up
descriptors.
definitions a lot.
Looking up a
Can't
definition
you
doesn't
just
mean
do the work
anything.
For me, I don't want to do anything. Can't
Those
you do it
damn
all for-
atheists.
You
Big
damn
words and
dictionary-ness
shit.
Freaking
atheist.
logic,
Stop doing that with
so
definitions.
hard.
Definitions tell you how a word is being used. It doesn't tell you how to use the word. Unless it's a prescriptive dictionary, which, boy, I don't think they even exist any longer.
ask people, do you, can we look up the definition of code or information? Would
Which
you
you did.
agree that describes DNA? The second
No.
point is,
We don't agree.
do you
Do we all not agree on that?
None of us agree
None
with
of us
this.
agree on that. All right.
Wait,
don't
are
agree
we
with your
agreeing that we
definitions.
can look it up, or are we agreeing? What are we agreeing
We're
with
agreeing
now?
that DNA is not a code.
Shit, guys, the recipes become unclear.
No, I think he said, or we agree to look it up, and then there was
Oh,
a
we can do that.
comma
Yeah, we can look it up. Sure.
We agreed to look it up. We did look it up. We don't
Yeah.
agree with the definition. That
Like, why not
definition
ask us to look up
describe-
what the definition of DNA is instead of what the definition of code?
Yeah, he
and
doesn't actually do
information
that, does he? I don't think.
No, he doesn't say to do that.
You want to do that,
Video
Chesh?
should be taken down for false
Look, it-
advertising.
I just
Look,
liked it,
I'm
but I'm
sorry,
just an
I'm
asshole.
ruining how to help atheists. I'm sorry.
But all right, so Cheshire, real quick, want to give a quick definition of DNA?
Yeah.
These are again usages, working stipulative definitions. They're not meant to be. If it meets this definition, then it must be this. They're
Okay,
they're
DNA.
describing it.
Listen, this is a big word. I can't read this.
Macromolecule?
No.
Oh, what?
Deoxyribonucleic.
That's a big word.
Deoxyribonucleic acid.
Very good.
Oh, I was close. Yeah.
No. You got to say
A
it. You got to say it.
self-replicating-
No, you got to say the true comparisons way. He doesn't say deoxyribonucleic acid. He says deoxyribose nucleic acid. I think, doesn't he?
Hold on.
Ronnie
I
always
just-
gets it wrong. It's
Fuck.
Deoxyribonucleic
Of course, Ronnie
acid.
gets it wrong. I had to explain to him how to pronounce a carboxymethylthiopyrimidine. But
yeah.
Fuck off.
fuck me, right?
Yeah, I don't know why he says deoxyribose
Deoxyribonucleic
nucleic acid.
acid.
I don't know why he says it that way because he thinks there's because there's ribose sugar, but
Now I have to look that up. These damn atheists and their big
what do you got to
words.
look up? Deoxyribonucleic acid.
We're
That's
already
DNA.
we're already 2 minutes and 26
All right, moving
seconds
on.
in, and I do not feel helped.
self-replicating material which is present in nearly all living organisms as the main constituent of chromosomes.
Yeah.
Is the carrier of genetic information.
Yes. Okay. So.
It said
Oh
Oh my God!
information.
Information.
Checkmate, atheist.
Wait. We
Oh,
agreed
there
up
you
on
go.
that already. Yeah, we already said this information. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
That information or code only comes from a mind.
No, it
And then,
doesn't.
you know, they're going to disagree with you typically
Right.
on one of these, and then you could just, you know,
Or
kindly
all of
say,
them.
Yeah, we're all of
I
them.
disagree with you. I think information only comes from a mind.
What does that mean? That information only comes from a mind? Information doesn't
fucking
require a mind.
Obviously,
Knew
it
it.
means that information only comes from a mind. Duh, didn't you hear?
I fucking knew it. I knew that's exactly where this shit was going. I fucking knew it. This is nothing new. I've been dealing with this shit since 2016. No fucking difference.
So why?
Nothing.
Why did they?
There
why,
is literally nothing new here. Why the fuck am I here? Fuck you, Steve.
hey, blame
All
her!
of you right now.
Blame her!
No, it's my fault. I tweeted out.
Yeah, if you want to
today.
do a regression, do blame DM. He started this
There
mess.
is literally
I'm
nothing
the end
new
man here. I'm the last of the chain. Start from the beginning, DM.
Didn't you
fucking
read the
Christ.
Bible in Ephesians? It says nothing new under the sun. That
You
proves
know what?
the Bible's true.
I got a better argument for this.
Regurgitated Bullshit.
I got a better argument for this
Seriously.
guy. Look at, you know what? Why don't they ever argue something along the lines of the holographic principle, saying, well, information is encoded on the boundary conditions of the event horizon that surrounds the universe. There's an actual a two-dimensional boundary layer that exists, and that layer contains all the informational code that's required to describe the states of the system in the entire universe. It's called the hologram principle, and that's a real thing. And I do agree with it because it's based upon black hole theory. If all he's got to do is say, hey, there's information that's encapsulated or encoded on the boundary conditions of the universe, ergo God is the universe. There you go. Now you got pandeism. There you go. That's what you got to do.
Well,
See,
no,
that's a good
I
argument
think
for
you could do shorter than that. Just say that hologram requires a hologrammer.
Ooh. Ooh.
Just end my suffering now.
This is going to be the best stream ever, just because Reds is suffering. I think he needs this.
And then the next question or statement is that, you know, if they were to agree with you on that, which is rare, then you would say, well, then would you agree that there is a mind behind DNA? And so that's the point. You're trying to get them to see
By bad
that
analogy
DNA or
and-
code could not come about by accident.
Which nobody suggests.
You know, they believe.
Does anybody think the DNA came around by some accident? Because I never
Well,
heard anybody
it
argue
depends
that.
on how they're defining accident, because basically what they're saying is there's that natural processes are accidents. No, they're natural processes. Okay, do we have all the answers? No, we don't. But we're not going to arbitrarily jump to a conclusion that a fucking magical sky daddy made this shit fucking happen.
Wouldn't they be better off arguing that it is an accident? Because then it at least implies that somebody had to be trying to do something and fucked it up.
Yeah, or there's intent behind it.
I mean, hey, yeah, I mean, I mean, listen, and by the way, if we're actually going down the, hey, yeah, you know, there's DNA, there's this designer. Okay, well, your designer sucks. Okay, all right, just look at wisdom teeth. Okay, your designer is shit. In that case, I don't want to fucking worship him. Fuck your god.
I bring that up in my 40-minute video at some point.
Yeah, I mean, we use the term like accident even when the laws of physics dictate something. Like, you know, you're walking under a ladder or you fall off a ladder, right? That's an accident, even though you're just obeying the laws of physics, right? That's still what we consider to be an accident. But when it comes to DNA and all that stuff, these are not accidental things. These are very much contingent upon the laws of chemistry, the laws of biology, the laws of physics, all these things. And if you want to get, some people argue what's more base level, laws of physics or laws of chemistry.
It happens consistently.
You know? By the way, that's a good debate. Anybody wants to have that debate, let me know. What's the base level? Laws of physics or laws of chemistry? There's an argument to be had there. I don't know. I kind of tend to physics, but there's an argument to be had for base levels chemistry too. So. But anyways, yeah. Okay. So this argument is not.
We're halfway through.
He's not seeming. No, we're not. Like a quarter. He's not seemed to be convincing anyone yet.
Believe that the first living cell came about by accident.
Again, who argues that?
Abiogenesis, non-life
Nobody.
becoming life.
Kent
You
Hovind.
could ask them, do you believe that first cell had DNA in it, and that DNA had the recipe for that single cell organism? And then you could ask them, do you really think that's logical to believe that
Wait,
the
did
first
DNA? Hold on, I have a question. Did DNA actually form from the very beginning, or is DNA something that developed over time?
Over
also?
time. You had
So
Yeah.
he's wrong.
yeah. DNA didn't go poof
Cool.
magically come into existence. It was
Like
there was
the
RNA
first cell
first.
would have had like proto DNA if there was.
Well, it
a
would have had
first
RNA. It
cell.
would have been RNA probably.
Yeah, but it
proto
wouldn't be-
RNA.
Or then
something.
double
Yeah.
helix RNA and they have self-replicating DNA or RNA.
It's not what he's talking about. He's talking about like the genetic code that we have currently.
Yeah, no,
Which-
they can actually you can actually look at the progression. You can actually see, look at here the very first
Listen,
cell.
this guy is well read. I'm gonna trust him
well-read.
instead of you, Steve.
The very
He's watched lots of scientists.
if you look at the very first cell, which
Too
you
many.
consider to be a cell, which is a lipid layer that had the ability to to kind of move around sodium ions. That's all it kind of really was. And so that became later proton pumps because you had a sodium ion pump, then you had the proton pump, which is part of the ATP synthase, which I know Reds loves. ATP. By the way, if you ever want to, like for his birthday, give Red something, make sure it deals with ATP synthase. He loves ATP synthase so much that, I mean, I think he has fantasies about ATP synthase. Don't you, Reds?
One of these days, Steve, I will end you.
We're going to make this so rough for him.
Why do you think it is that this is a common creationist tactic where they leave out the natural selection part? They go, "Oh, it's an accident." Like you
Yeah,
forgot,
these things are selected. That's a good point. These things are
Darwin's
selected.
theory
For.
It's
of
actually
natural selection is even in the book that you don't like. So what?
Because it's a tactic to make people who already don't know the information and aren't going to look it up feel better about what they think.
I think so too. It's
This has
confirmational,
nothing. This
yeah.
actually has nothing to do with talking to atheists.
Right? No,
because
that's why I said
it-
this is a meta thing. This is like here's how to help atheists.
Well, the thing is that it's not even.
You're
even
not
for
thinking
that.
at his level. You
And
start
even-
not at
even-
his level.
Well, even if it was, even if this was his intention, the thing is that all this is going to do is give ignorant people answers or quick rebuttals to a dishonest conversation to begin with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
Well,
I think,
Pretty
the
much,
questions,
because-
it's easy to formulate questions that nobody can answer anyway, so it's not really a intellectually sound thing.
What do you
to
mean they
in the first-
have the answer? God did
Oh,
it.
they have. Well, yeah.
I want to
Well,
know though,
they
how
have
many-
a answer. It's a dishonest answer, but they do have one.
I wanna know-
They're going into what they're doing is that they're basically going to capitalize on people's intellectual honesty. Oh, you don't know this thing? Allow me to insert my bullshit in there and have you
Yes.
have absolutely nothing to answer back
Well,
with.
he's also
Other than I
capitalizing.
don't have a fucking clue. And you know what? Not knowing something is fine. People don't see, that's what this jackass doesn't seem to understand. Not knowing something is fine. How did life start? I don't fucking know.
Wow.
And you want to know something? It's perfectly fine, perfectly acceptable to not jump to conclusions after fact. It's perfectly fine to withhold judgment until all the information is there. This guy doesn't want to wait. He's impatient or he's a dishonest fuck. So he's going to go ahead and jump to the conclusion that God did it.
He's also taking advantage of people's intellectual dishonesty as well, because he's not talking to the atheist directly. He's talking to the middlemen, and the middlemen are the congregation. Specifically, that's why that analogy about the sand castle and the hit, or I'm attacking the castle, throwing cannonballs at the foundation. They say that in church all the time. All the time that shit comes up.
I want to know why this guy, if he's ever said how many people he's ever converted by this argument.
Well, the thing is that he's not trying to convert people
Right,
with his argument.
that's my
He's
point,
trying to
that's my
tell
point.
other people how to use. Yeah, so he would be like, oh, well, I have no idea because so many people will have been using my argument. And so, I mean, you're not going to...
Only 10 dislikes. We can do better than that.
And the thing is that there's also the... He's taking advantage of the fact that the people that he's talking to aren't doing the research themselves.
Correct. But if he's trying to help atheists and he
told them to look up definitions, though.
Well, this is the thing to Red's point. Like, if I just said, I don't know to all the questions, then what? He doesn't really give the middleman any information to work on in that situation.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on. We're about halfway through. But yeah, I don't think he's converted anybody by this argument.
Living cell
It's not...
somehow obtained a recipe that came from no mind.
Which
Obtained?
nobody thinks. I don't think. I mean, does he literally think that that biologists say, hey, one day somewhere along the line, poof, a cell appeared with DNA in it, just
This
ex
guy
nihilo.
got all of his biological information from the game Spore.
Now, again, let me reiterate this because I think it is critical. This guy is a young Earth creationist, so you have to understand where he gets his science from.
Spore does a better job than this.
Well, it's one of the two scientists he mentioned, and since the first one said he's not an ID one, it's got to be the creationist guy then.
Wait a minute. So this guy gets his science from the same dude that built a ship that doesn't float, and that also suffered
Stephen Meyer.
flood damage.
Correct.
Stephen Meyer, Mayor, whatever it is, I don't know, that guy.
The Mayor.
Yeah, Stephen Meyer and James
know.
Tor.
5,000 W's.
By the way, I do.
That was the guy that made a complete ass out of himself in that Nova documentary. Yeah, I've heard of that dude before. Yeah, he was funny.
Meyer B.
I couldn't find a single
Dembski.
peer-reviewed paper that he has, so I don't know if that.
I have a guy that actually debunks intelligent design. I'm trying to get an idea to come on. Maybe this guy might be interested.
But that's the thing. It's like, look, even if I was to grant the whole thing, it still doesn't convince me there's a God. That's the other problem with this whole idea. Anyway.
Well, he's trying to by some kind of logical inference that if the premises are true, the conclusion has to follow. But I don't accept the premise because again, these are just definitional things of what we call a code and what we think it is. I think it's an analogy. I think most people do. Even when I had my debate with Stated Clearly, I think 2/3 kind of agreed. That is, I don't really know too many biologists that think it's literally a code. Matter of fact, James Crick, when he came up with the term genetic code, you can look this up. He wanted to call it genetic cipher, but he didn't think that it had a ring to it, so he called it genetic code because it is a little bit more like a cipher than it is a code. So if that was the case, had he labeled it genetic cipher, these guys would be arguing, well, it's a cipher. Only ciphers come from minds. There go God. So
no. It'd be you need a cipherner.
You need a siphoner. You need a siphoner.
Cipher.
Somebody sucks gas out of your car. Kawasa.
You got 5,000 W's.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know what that is.
I think it's like $7 or something. Kawasa.
It's a lot of W's.
It's a lot of W's. More than 30 minutes exposure to Reds. Is Reds feeling any changes? Maybe in craving for Ultra Boys. Ooh. Ouch. That was low. That was really low.
I am craving for somebody, but not an Ultra Boy.
I told you, Reds, I'll spend time with you. I'll spend time with you after this. Okay. God damn, you're so needy, man.
I know what it took
me that we would cuddle. Instead, you're showing me this shit.
You know what? This is the whole Dom sub thing. This is a little bit of the pain before the pleasure.
Because man, then ask them to look at the complexity of a single cell.
More. Back to the video. More.
Could you imagine being forced to watch something like this every time you wanted to have sex?
You would be abstinent for the rest of my life.
Hold on, oh, we're in the mood. Hold on, honey. Let me put this on for 6 minutes.
I don't know. It makes it actually that could work for me because this pisses me off, and then I could convert that energy.
I've heard a tantric, but usually wait for other means, but not this. No.
And ask them to look at the complexity of a single cell. It is. They say it's simple, but then I assume.
Stop. I hate this.
They say that the cell is simple, but then it's complex. Well, no, nobody says that
it's called a simple cell for a reason, but that doesn't mean that it's not complicated.
Like you're talking about the first cell? Like what cell are you talking about?
Well, simple also is relative.
Yeah, this is the problem. We call it like something like a simple cell for a reason rather than a complex system. There's still even the most simplest cell is still extremely complicated. So if I said something has a simple brain, it still has a very complicated thing. The brain's a very complicated thing. Even the most simplistic one is very complicated. So I don't think he's really understanding complexity here as far as simple and complicated, right? I mean, I guarantee even the most simple cell takes a while to understand even the basics of how it works with the biochemistry. This is where we have Ceti come in.
Obviously, it's simple, so you need a
simplifier, simpler giver. A simple giver.
My brain broke just then.
This is breaking DM's brain. We shouldn't do this anymore.
Did you guys ever think that maybe the reason your response videos are so long is because taking it too seriously?
No.
Could be. All right, keep going.
How complex a single cell is, because there's no such thing as a simple cell. A cell is able to metabolize and reproduce. It has all these different mechanisms inside of it. And then the next thing is they'll say, well, who created your God, right? And then that's where you say that, hey,
wait, what?
How did we jump from whether it's cell simple, whether it has a nucleus or not, whether it's prokaryotic, eukaryote? How did we move from that to how your God? Did I miss a step here?
No.
Somebody? I'm
No, it's fine. Just keep going.
my brain is
Keep going.
broken here. I don't know how he got to. And by the way, I will even stand up for the theist on this. I think it is nonsensical to ask the question, who made God, because that's if a God is posited as a metaphysical necessity, which is the smart way to go about it for a theist, then the question is moot because it has to exist because anything that's metaphysical necessity must exist. Now the question then would
But
be,
he already said that minds need code, and then code needs a mind. So if God has a mind, then it has a code, so therefore it would need a God.
yeah, but let me finish real
Well,
quick, because I think this people need to understand. Stop asking who created your God. It's a dumb question for atheists because there's only three possibilities: infinite regression, axiomatic assumption, or metaphysical necessity. You can ask them why they're justifying it. I do that with Sci 10. Why do you justify a metaphysical necessity? I take axiomatic assumption, which is
Well,
a
the
proved
thing
fact,
is, he's
but
this
I
guy's
can justify
referring
that.
to like the average day-to-day conversation, not like the kind of conversation you're talking about right now, Steve, is far more intense than what most people are going to come
Sure.
across in a coffee shop in the day-to-day of like, oh, you're talking to your family members, or you're talking to your atheist friend, or you're talking to your theist friend. It doesn't really so. The reason why a lot of in that kind of a situation, if you're not having like a debate or you're not having like that level of intellectual conversation, why somebody would ask, well, who made your God then, is not to actually get an answer. It's to demonstrate that if your God can have this quality, why can't anything else? It demonstrates that like a
Wait,
dissonance
what
between
quality?
those two ideas.
What quality?
The quality of just being able to exist.
Oh yeah, but you could posit anything. You could posit many things in a metaphysical necessity. One plus
Right, so
one
what I'm
plus one equals
saying
2 is
is
a
that-
metaphysical necessity given the
What-
axioms.
I
Right,
would even
but
argue
that's
that
not the point, right?
within his construct that he's already made here, that if he's saying that God is a mind, he's already earlier said that minds can only come from other minds, or that the code of DNA
Yeah, in his
requires
analogy,
mind.
Right.
God would require.
So then God would require so
Okay, that's
he didn't
that's a fair point.
he didn't clear any of that up before jumping to this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Steve, you're giving this guy too much credit.
Yeah, if I didn't hear him
legitimate
say.
question.
There's a third point. I didn't hear him say that because if he's arguing minds come from other minds, then he might be charged with special pleading.
Well, he said that he said that the code requires a mind. So then,
I'm just going by what he's saying because
it's
a mind coming from a mind.
There's
that's
a
different
contradiction
thing.
because he's saying that the mind, you need a mind to be able to have or create
information,
or whatever,
but then doesn't
information
God
in
have
code,
information?
but also
Right.
minds are created by information in code.
There you
So
go.
it's circular.
Yeah.
Is the
Except for
The
God,
definition of
because
God is that he
it's
is
mind.
eternal. He was never created. And then I say something to the effect of, well, do you believe, you really have two options, do you believe that matter accidentally created information and code?
No.
Life and consciousness, or do you believe a life form outside of our three spatial
No,
dimensions
I believe neither of
created
those things.
life and DNA and code? And so then the next thing I would do is I tell them, because clearly they're not buying what I'm saying, so I say, well, if you're really interested in the evidence, please go listen to James Torr and Stephen Meyer. They're both scientists. And then
Why don't they ever say, if you want interested in the evidence, why don't you go read the literature on these topics and then go read
Steve,
Torr and
reading is hard.
I just want to listen to videos that he didn't link us to.
anytime people want you to read the alternate explanation for things without reading the established explanations, I think that's disingenuous.
Look, if you want to understand flat earthers, you've got to listen to all the flat earth scientists that I know about. Duh.
If you want to learn flat Earth, call Jaredism, right? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Reds, do you think it's one or the other? Which one do you think it is?
Yeah, you never answered
Was
the
it
question.
an accident or was it a god? Can only be one of those two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No false
I love
dichotomy there
how
now,
these-
is there?
It's not a false
Dishonest.
dichotomy
Yeah, no,
or
not at
middle.
all.
I mean,
middle
I
at
love
all.
how these dishonest dipshits are defining the word accident. Like, for example, is it an accident that water can read the information of the terrain and find the path of least resistance? That's not an accident, okay? That is physics. Get your head out of your ass. It is a natural process. Now, is that responsible for life becoming a thing? I don't fucking know. I don't have the information. And guess what? Neither does this jackass. He is literally just saying you don't have any other solutions to this question, any other possible answers to this question. Therefore, my shit's automatically correct. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you.
There's a
Fuck
great
you right
question in the
here.
live chat, real quick. That Joker's Wild asked, why does Steve think they're being disingenuous? Because if you just go to these other sites, especially like he's suggesting Tor or Myers or Behe or whoever, just like going to Answers in Genesis or going to Creation Research Ministries or Creation Research Institute, all of them, unless you have the basic understanding of the actual science, I don't think it gives you the tools to properly evaluate what they're putting out.
I can simplify that as well a little bit. Is if you're actually trying to learn something and you want to understand something honestly, you go and you study and you learn it. You don't listen to somebody else's explanation of what they think it means.
Yeah, what this guy is doing is a classic. This is a textbook example of a God of the Gaps argument. That's what this all is.
Yeah, I mean, I think an argument made for that. I think he's doing it implicitly rather than explicitly, but he's definitely trying to run an argument of, some kind of logical argument that he thinks is a logical argument, which is not, because he's already used the word.
Well, he's asking you this. He's asking you, do you think this? Do you think that? When clearly the information isn't out there. We just don't know. So when he's asking you these questions, he's intentionally being dishonest, in my opinion, because it's pretty fucking clear that we don't have these answers. We don't have enough to go on to make a solid answer on it. So when he's asking you, he knows that you're not going to have anything. That allows him to slip his possible solution to this problem in. So he found a gap, and he's just going to slide his God in. Just slide it in. No condom. Just
look at her twirl her hair when you say that.
The problem I have...
Shut up, DM. Shut up, DM. Yeah. We're just having a moment here.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Now go ahead.
All right. Or we do it, yeah. Bounce the things again. No,
I have to play with the red part of my hair when Reds is done.
I saw that too. There's some kind of subliminal thing going on there.
Yeah, I don't know.
DM, we don't care. Real quick, Joker said, "Why do you pronounce it with an R?" I don't know. I certain words I do that, but I know it's disingenuous. Disingenuous. There you go. Disingenuous. I told you guys before I have a speech impediment with R's and S's. I really do. So that's when it comes out. But go ahead, DM. I'm just fucking with you.
Right. I don't know anymore now.
You don't know either. Her twirling her red hair lost your fucking mind, right?
It's another one of these well, you don't agree with me, so go look up these guys. But that doesn't enable the middle guy that you're trying to teach anything, nor does it answer or do anything to the atheist that you're trying to convert or whatever. It's just not a very good educational technique or debate technique in and of itself. It's go look up Stephen Hawking. What good is that going to do somebody? It's just
it's because he's preaching to the choir. He's not actually providing anything. He's just giving something for people to feel better so that if they ever talk to an atheist who they're discouraged from talking to, they have these things that they think are gotchas.
Yeah, and worse is how many times this has been run. I mean, it's like there's nothing new under the sun. I try to come up with new arguments. Like I put my blog in the video description, and we're going to be doing that this weekend or this Monday, next couple days, talking about
Stop putting stuff over top of our caffeine day.
Yeah, I'd rather Steve lay out the syllogism.
Well, but this Monday I've got. Well, hang on. Yeah. This Monday I've actually got Fuzz Rana coming in, so we can't do caffeine day. It's going to be on Tuesday again. But I planned those ahead of time. That's because I have to go through Reasons to Believe. So we got Dr. Fuzz Rana coming in on Monday with Mr. Griffith, and I think Sygart maybe. So that's going to be interesting. But we are going to be doing something on vacuous justifications, and that's my argument, right? I mean, that's something that I worked out with Ozzy that we had a discussion on. Maybe somebody else might have had that argument as well. I'm not saying that it's unique. All arguments are somewhat derivative of some kind. But this guy's just running the same shit.
Well, for what this guy's saying, is he not making a little bit of an appeal to authority by saying, well, these scientists say it, so if you read these scientists, then you can say it?
Well, yeah, but
not directly.
There's nothing wrong with appealing to authorities. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We do that all the time. We should appeal to authorities. They're the authority. That's not a fallacy.
But in this case, it would be a problem because
and one of those two authorities also
cherry picking. You're
cherry picking. Yes, but I don't think it's a.
It will get better. He'll cherry pick something even better in a moment.
He's allowed to say without fallacy, saying, "Look, go read some James Tour." Now, James Tour is a professional biochemist. I mean, he knows his stuff on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody says, "Hey, you want to go learn biochemistry? Here's James Tour." If you want, however, to learn about intelligent design, he's a person to go to as well. Now, the fallacy would be intelligent is true because James Tour says it's true.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
But of course, what do I know? Because people accuse me of fallacies all the time,
I mean,
like
I
fell
would,
under authority
I would
and
kind of argue that's what
ad
he's doing, but not directly.
I don't think so.
Look,
I would
Steve,
say
you
that-
had one. Just admit it.
No, you were wrong on that, and I showed you why you were wrong.
No, I wasn't.
But I got to tell you, it was a very worthy
you said
effort.
I was picky because I was being too literal. That doesn't mean you're wrong.
Well, no. What I said
Whatever,
is, first of all, you
fine.
should
Go on to
apply.
the video. Do the video.
I
whatever.
should apply. You should apply principle of charity, but even still,
No, I don't.
Even okay, Chess, real quick. We're not getting into the details, but even his when he put, Steve committed a fallacy, he put a question mark right next to it, as if it was, did he or did he not? I don't know. Yeah, there you go.
That was earlier in the
You
video.
suck. Oop. Lost my place.
And then the next thing is they'll say, well, who created your God, right? And then
No,
and
skip
then
it.
that's where you say that, hey, I believe a definition of God is that he is eternal. He was never created. And then
You
I
don't know
say
what that
something to the
means.
effect of, well, do you believe, you really have two options. Do you believe that matter accidentally created information and code and life and consciousness? Or do you believe a life form outside of our
Why is that two
three
options? Okay, so much wrong with that. By the way, Solitaire of Astoria, $5. Keep up the good work, Steve. Thank you very much. Soler of Astoria. Astora. Soler Astora, I think. I don't know. Want to pronounce that?
Yeah, Astoria would have an I in it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah,
So yes, you're
Astora.
correct.
Okay, so how are those the only two choices? It's like, accident or God.
Well,
Yeah,
but what
they're
if
not.
God existed and then in order to
Made
make
it as
the
an
universe,
accident. Yeah, I don't know.
like died in order to make the universe, like it
What
exploded?
if God? Yeah,
or-
what if God committed an accident?
Yeah, I mean,
Why can't
maybe
it be
it's
both?
both. Yeah, like
Well, I
God
mean-
was rolling some dice and he was like, "Oops."
Now you're going to hard determinism, though, because any accident he
Sugar,
would have been would be
Spice
because
and everything nice.
he willed to be. I mean, he could just make it go into fatalism at that point. So I don't.
These are the
This is
ingredients
just
to
really
create the perfect
bad.
little girls. Until he added chemical X.
Chemical X. Yeah, it was the fudge factor that created everything to be accidental.
We just covered this, I think. What's
Yeah,
going
we
on?
did.
It's like a time loop.
life and DNA and code.
No, I think I messed
And
up my
so
spot.
then the next
okay.
thing I would do is I tell them, because clearly they don't want to, they're not buying what I'm saying. So I say, well, if
Well,
you're
let's find that's true. Hey, Reds, are you buying what he's saying? Did you get this one right? See, the atheist will not admit when the theist is correct. See this? Won't give them an inch. Won't give them any ground.
Wait,
No
Did
quarter.
he make a video all about here's this thing that will help you talk to atheists and convince them, and we're 4 minutes out of 6, and he's like, so far they're not going to buy anything that I'm saying.
Yeah, at least he's predictive of this. I
Why
mean,
didn't you just skip that part?
don't need any of that part because nobody's buying that.
We just the reasons that nobody believes in God is because of evolution, obviously. So if you get rid of evolution, then everyone will believe in God.
Clearly, that's how it works. Yeah, that's what I think. some of
That's
these
how
people
that
think.
works. Duh.
But I wanted to make sure
And
from.
it'll be my god.
I mean, evolution
Anyway.
requires an evolution.
But I want to make sure the test. I mean, Reg is our control group, so I want to make sure the test atheist agreed with him. He's not. He's saying you are saying
You know
agree with
better
him.
than that, Steve. You know I don't adopt labels.
But you do agree with him that you have not convinced so far, right?
This guy's an asshat.
All right, so I'm taking that as a yes.
Yeah, well,
Really
he
interested
could still
in
be
movements.
right though.
Oh yeah, hey, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Please
but
go
Steve
listen to
knows exactly what I mean by that.
I do. I know a lot of things.
James Torr and Stephen Meyer. They're both scientists. And then I would say, check out a video by Carl Sagan. Now, most atheists love Carl Sagan. I don't know.
Wait, how does that follow?
I'm a
No,
bad-
just
I've never
let it go.
actually
Let,
watched
All right,
let
all
him
right.
say it. This is the scary pick.
Most
that I
atheists
was-
love Carl Sagan.
This
I
is-
don't know if
this
half
is-
the atheists know who Carl Sagan is. I mean, that's before a lot of atheists' time. I don't know, and he wasn't even really atheist, more agnostic than anything else. But even still, he didn't give really crap about the question of God. He was an astronomer.
Know if he was an atheist, he was at least an agnostic. But he made this great video about the fourth dimension and the tesseract, which is a four-dimensional cube.
Shit, don't let Loki know.
A cube in the fourth dimension. And he does a great job. This agnostic or atheist does a great job describing what it would be like if a being outside of our physical universe contacted us.
Yeah, well, there's another book called Flatland that does the same thing with 3 dimensions versus 2 dimensions. A tesseract is just a 4-dimensional cube. So if you have like a square is a 2-dimensional representation of a cube, right? It's one side of a cube. So if you have a line that's 1-dimensional, first you start with a point, right? which has 0 dimensions. Then you start with a line, has 1 dimension, square, 2 dimensions, cube, 3 dimensions. Then a tesseract would be 4 dimensions. The same thing with imagining a 2-dimensional surface and then having a sphere go through it. It look like a perfect circle. Thus God. This is what the book Flatland is about. So he's just saying that there are other dimensions out there which should still be part of our universe, right? It's still the way most people talk about the word universe. Is they think of like the heavens above the sky and all the stars. But to a philosopher, the universe could be containing everything, including multi-dimensions. Even to a physicist would be multiple string theory, right? Compactification of 6 dimensions or up to 10 dimensions and 9 dimensions plus time. So this is not what he's talking about, something that's completely, absolutely spatiotemporally outside of our understanding, not just a multiverse, but out of our understanding altogether. Because I don't think he's arguing that God exists in some pocket universe in a multiverse, like a level 2 multiverse. I think he's conflating what a tesseract would be. It's still in our universe, to God, which would exist most of Christians or some Christians way outside of that. And the God would be acting as a demerge to the universe, sustaining it, like in what's called theistic personalism. Or in classical, God and the universe are kind of intertwined with each other. So he's just throwing a bunch of these concepts together and going, oh, look, this is how you understand God, as a 4th-dimensional being.
Well, I think it's made on the assumption that the poor, misguided atheist scum doesn't know how to conceive of God. And so here's a way to think
it's
about
that
God.
we don't want to conceive of God.
We
Remember, we don't want
to admit or believe in God, but this is a way you can conceive of God that you're not going to do because you don't want to believe in it. But
I don't wanna.
Yeah, you're so resistant to this.
Watch the Carl Sagan thing that I didn't link you to.
Yeah. All right, going on here.
And it's beautiful. So really get them to do those 2 things. Ask them the questions about DNA.
Which they don't believe, we admitted.
Would you agree that code only comes from a mind?
No.
And then would you agree that DNA has a mind behind it? And
No.
then when they start to try to discredit God, that there are no eternal beings, well then be like, hey, listen to Carl Sagan, and that will help you visualize and understand that it is possible for a being to be from outside of our universe who is not under the same laws as us. And so if he's not bound by 3 spatial dimensions, is it really hard?
It's already grown. Okay, we all got to get this out of our system. Reds, we're all going to groan at the same time.
All right, so
not in a sexual way. Cheshire's doing his sexual way. We're not doing a
He didn't
sexualized.
link anything. On the other hand, now he's forcing them to do the research, so maybe they'll actually stumble across something more interesting than his video.
I don't know why these people think that this is going to make them internet famous by regurgitating the same silly, stupid.
I don't think he's trying to get internet. I think this is very genuine. This is from the heart.
No, I think he is too. But I have an ID expert that actually does podcast debunking intelligent design. Ozzy introduced him to me. As a matter of fact, nice guy. And maybe we can get in touch with this guy and have him come on and talk together, because I know this guy wants to find somebody that will talk to him about this, because he's read Myers, he read all this stuff. So if you can make that happen, DM will make you a co-host for that episode, because Red's never going to do this type of stuff again.
Yeah, I'll do what I can. I mean, whether or not this guy will even talk to me Monday, who knows? But we'll see how that goes. Right. I don't know, but yeah, I mean,
you probably pissed him off already.
I don't understand the conflation of pseudoscience with God exists, because, like, look, if there's a God, it used evolution. It used whatever we observe, that's how God did it. And to deny that would then make your God impossible. It's like you're saying 1 + 1 has to be 1 billion for God to exist. Well, it's not, so your God can't exist. So this is...
Yeah, but 1 + 1 + 1 = 1.
Well,
what he's running is a teleological argument, and
but it's broken.
But the problem with this is that Darwin, one of the greatest things Darwin did, I think a lot of people don't recognize it. What Darwin did is he gave what's called a teleonomic explanation for design. He showed people that even though that things look to design, things have the appearance of design, and he would even argue that they are designed, but by nature, this is called teleonomics. And that we didn't need a mind or an intelligence, teleological, to actually have something that resembles of something of design, like the Fibonacci series or the golden ratio, anything like that. These things exist in nature teleonomically, and Darwin showed this is possible, right? He showed this a viable explanation where you don't need God. Now, this guy's not only, to me, positing the teleological argument, he's actually suggesting that's kind of like the only way it could be because, well, DNA is a code comes to mind, God, ergo God exists. That's just not a sound argument.
Well, and plus you forgot the special
Aliens.
pleading that God's
Aliens.
mind has to be different than the other minds that were already positive.
That he has no beginning. So that's the best way to do it. From everything that I've learned, because of course, if DNA is code, then you would need a programmer to program it in the original cell, which I'm a young Earth creationist. I try to play to their evolutionary idea that if they believe that we have a common ancestor, the first cell couldn't have come about by chance because somebody would have had to
Which
write the code.
nobody
And if
argues.
they believe in evolution. Well, I don't believe in atheistic evolution. If
That's
anything,
not how
it has
chance
to be
works.
theistic evolution.
I don't
God
believe in
guided these
atheistic
mutations,
evolution
'cause you
either,
have to
because
have
there's
a
no such thing
programmer
as atheistic
making changes to the
evolution.
code that would help and not destroy the organism.
All right, well, there you go. So,
it would help not destroy the organism. Because what?
All right, so Reds Rhetoric, you have a decision to make now. You are either going to have to deny his argument and admit that you just do not want to believe God exists, or you're going to have to admit his argument is bulletproof, God exists, and basically go over, tell the Clown Car Posse and G-Man you're one of them, and well, it was nice.
We're gonna put the timer on the clock.
I won't hold it against you, man. Your decision to make, man. You're my boy either way, man. You make your own decisions, but. Here you go, man. You got to pick one. That's your dichotomy there, your dilemma.
Well, in that case, God does exist. I am now one of them, and I'm gonna go find a choir boy. Yeah,
one of them.
Yeah, one of them. What is atheist evolution, though? Before you go,
Stone Apostate says $2. What the fuck is atheist evolution?
Yeah, that's.
What he means, he says atheistic, by the way, and I know what he means by this. Don't judge him too hard for this. All somebody means by atheistic evolution is evolution not requiring a deity or requiring guidance. It's an unguided, at least unguided by any kind of intelligence. There are guided processes, but
so like as opposed to theists who believe that evolution is a thing, but it's been guided by God. So it's like the opposite of okay.
Right, because the theistic evolutionists would say that evolution exists, but it's being guided in small, like the reasons to believe models by God makes these really small adjustments, like infinitely adjusting things. I don't know how that would work, but
see that to me is for. I'd rather have a theist that is okay with evolution, however they want to think that God did that, than somebody that outright denies evolution, because that causes potential problems in the culture and education and everything like that, where you're selling an idea that's not true to sell your God. And it's like, look, God could very well exist to be real, but it has to conform with reality. You're, again, it's you're saying it must be flat Earth.
Well, it would be reality. I mean, I don't know what you mean by it has to conform with reality. I mean, if God existed, that would be, something that would be part of reality. Now, I agree, though, certain versions of a deity cannot exist. I don't think it makes sense to posit an illogical God. But,
right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That if your God requires you to deny some aspect of reality, then that God is inconsistent with reality.
No, I don't agree with that either. I mean, because also he has to argue is that God can violate the laws of physics. I mean,
we'll debate that later. Whatever.
You suck. All right. Anyways, guys, so Reds Rhetoric is now an official. We're going to put you as a deist or theist. Where do you want to go? Because it doesn't get you the theism either way here, dude.
No. He's a lobsterist.
You want to worship the god of lobster? I like lobster.
Yeah, that's a.
We'll get some garlic butter and have a prayer
ceremony. Let's just choose for him. That's what we did.
I said if Reds worships anything, it's either rockets or beavers.
Well, I mean, red, lobster.
You like beaver, Reds? Is that true? You like beaver?
No. Correction, only wet beaver.
Wet beaver. He likes wet beaver.
Specifically.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, I think we all kind of like wet beaver every now and then.
Yeah, as you know, though, as
Reds needs a redder.
Reds need a redder.
Reds needs a redder.
Well, guys, this is going on a little over an hour. I wanted to keep it to an hour. We almost made it.
Hey, if you didn't get enough of this, I did a 40-minute video on this.
Oh,
so
please,
check out my
please
channel.
plug your stuff, by the way. And I forgot to put your video in the video description. I will, I promise. But Deacon Man, plug your stuff, and I will fix that as we speak. Well, actually, as we lead out here. So.
Yeah. I did a 40-minute video. Basically, I complained about him not getting it and stuff. So. Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't know. Go follow him on Twitter, too. Go follow Cheshire on Twitter. Go follow Reds Rhetoric's channel. He's in the video description as well. Now, here's the thing. We were going to do a rum and coke night tonight. I had asked Chess if she was going to be up for it, and I don't know if Reds was. But it is getting late here. Would you guys mind if we do an exception and we do a rum and coke night tomorrow? Because I don't think I have anything planned tomorrow night. A little earlier in the night. That way I can actually drink and enjoy it, and so can you, and this gives us something to do tomorrow. So
Gives me time to go get a bottle of wine.
That would be good. Yeah. What the hell's having rum and coke night if you go drink, right? Reds, you want to join us for that? You want to drink tomorrow?
At this point, I'm kind of mad at all of you,
Good.
so I'll think
you're
about
a
it.
deist now, so pray to
That's
your
what
God.
the drinking is for.
That's
what the
absolutely
drink is
right
for.
you as a theist to be mad at the
I warned her. She didn't listen to me again.
skeptical, atheist, agnostic scum.
Did I okay, true question, Chesh. Did I now for change it now, be honest. Because we know how dishonest and duplicitous you are, right? Did I not say this is? I want Reds. I even asked you. We need to find things to have Reds in. I go, but this he's not going to like. However, we're going to do this, but it's going to be your fault. Did I not imply something along those lines with you?
So I got a screenshot put up right here. So let's see who brought Reds up in this conversation.
No, I brought him up because I was like, we did bring Reds in, but you're like, oh, but let's do on this topic. I go, this is not really Reds' jam. He hates this kind of stuff. Let's do it. But
you did say that he hates this stuff. You did say that.
And is that confirmed, right? Is that Reds? Is that?
And I do believe I said, why do we keep inviting him to topics he hates?
Because we like torturing him. This is fun.
In the background, just so people know, in the background of this, people were saying, why is Red so quiet? That's because in the background, I'm watching removal of ungodly earwax. Type that exactly into YouTube and watch it. That's what I've been doing in the background. Why? Because that is more interesting to me than this shit.
He's like watching videos on how to block people.
You know
Okay,
what I'm
Cheshire
gonna-
gone,
I'm
Steve
gonna
gone,
do?
DM gone.
I'm gonna rename myself Blue just so we can have Red versus Blue. And I'm going to take that earwax video and dub it over with this guy's voice so that the next time Red tries to escape, he'll be stuck watching that video anyways.
That's diabolical.
Well,
I like
DM,
it.
how about this? Reds, so you could go back to loving us all again. How about you take it out on DM because he was the catalyst for all this, and
People hate me anyway.
just put all the hate toward him.
Just
Just put all your hate. Just bundle it up and hand it to him and go, DM, this is for you.
I vote we just go back to hate fucking.
Ooh, I like.
We were talking about that earlier.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. Well, there you go.
Wait a minute.
There you go.
Has all this time Red been a metaphor for peen? Oh.
A penis needs a peener.
A penis. Yeah, it needs a penis.
All right, guys.
All
Let's
right,
do that.
well, thanks, guys. This
DM,
was
man.
fun.
I love your stuff, bro.
Yeah,
I
remember,
don't understand
unless we
90%
have
of it, but
whatever,
whatever.
lobsters, something. I don't know.
Yeah, we're gonna have some hate fucking here soon. So tomorrow, man, Rum and Coke night, and then on Monday we've got Dr. Fuzzrana, Dr. Misha Griffith, and I think maybe Sygart, and then on Tuesday, Chester and I have a coffee corner thingy, and then I don't know, we got some other stuff going up. So hey, I'm gonna have the opener, so hot mics all around. But we're doing lead out. Anything else you got to add to anybody? Chess, Reds.
I do an art.
What?
Red said eat a dick. I said I do an art.
Her art has a penis in every photo. Go find it.
Unless and until we have a logically coherent argument, we should be skeptical of the conclusion.
Good night.
Lobster.